Is the Biden administration about to make women sign up for the military draft? This could be a huge change coming our way where women at 18 years old will have to sign up for selective service just as men do now. Let's walk through this because this is pretty crazy and it's all happening fast. We go back to go forward, though. This is how they used to choose. As bizarre as this sounds, there was a draft lottery on television, and they'd say, sit back, watch TV, and see if you're headed for Vietnam, friend. Hopefully that's not me in that container. They take it over, crack open the case. What do we have here?
September 14th.
All right, September 14th.
September 14, 001.
On the board you go. This is literally how they would pick people to go to war. And those people, as you know, are men. And they remain men at this very day. When I was 18 years old, like many of you, if you're a guy, had to sign up for selective service. And that meant if there ever was a draft in this country, which always becomes something that people talk about in times of war, which is kind of perpetual, and you start to think, well, what if they asked me to go fight in some war in some ill-begotten desert somewhere? How would I feel about that? Women have not been subjected to this, but watch what's happening now. And ladies, I want to get your opinion on this. We're going to go to a whole bunch of crazy things about the draft that you probably didn't know. The Biden administration asked the Supreme Court not to hear a challenge to all-male military draft. This is from the Washington Post. And they say the Biden administration has asked the Supreme Court not to take up a lawsuit that calls the all-male military draft unconstitutional because Congress, this is the important part, is considering whether women should also be required to sign up. Acting Solicitor General Elizabeth B. Preliger said in a brief to the court, any reconsideration of the constitutionality of the male-only registration requirement would be premature at this time. This is important, too. The brief does not state what President Biden thinks, whether he thinks women should be included, nor does it defend the current system, which requires only men 18 to 26 to submit their information should a military draft be needed again. So we go over to the actual court filings with the Supreme Court. And as you can probably see here, I know it's a little bit small, but if you're watching on a larger screen, you can. This court should afford Congress a reasonable opportunity to consider the commission's recommendations, particularly given their breadth and timing. 2 days after the commission issues its report, a bipartisan group of legislators introduced the Inspire to Serve Act in the House. Now, here's what they say. It was a comprehensive bill, dealt with a wide variety of issues, but the release coincided with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is why they haven't done anything on the draft yet. What are they talking about? This is what they're talking about. A panel called InspiredToServe.gov was set up by the U.S. government to look into this. Here is their recommendation. Extend selective service registration to women. The commission concluded the time is right to extend selective service system registration to include men and women between the ages of 18 and 26. This is a necessary and fair step, making it possible to draw the talent of a unified nation in a time of national emergency. Who has to register right now? Guys, we know most of us have done this. Otherwise, you're probably in trouble. It says who needs to register. Almost all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants who are 18 to 25 are required to register with Selective Service. That's immigrants and dual nationals, U.S. territory residents, hospitalized or incarcerated men, disabled men, men in the armed forces, conscientious objectors, and here's a controversial one, transgender people. I didn't even know this, but now you will. U.S. citizens or immigrants who are born male and change their gender to female are still required to register. Individuals who are born female and change their gender to male are not required to register for the draft for now. Women, as they say on the Selective Service SSS.gov website, are not currently required to do so. But even on their Twitter account, they're saying, as it's currently written, we are only authorized to register men 18 to 25. Currently, women are not required to register. Congress would need to amend the law. That's what Congress is working on doing. But what do women think about this? Well, they're not thrilled. This is overall perceptions, which have been pretty steady since 2013. And you have the percent in support in this bluish purplish color. Forgive me, I'm colorblind. And the percent opposed to selective service for women on the right in the red. So a slight shift there, but not much over time. However, women hate the idea. It shouldn't surprise you. While 61% of male voters believe women should be required to register for the draft, only 38% of female voters agree. Most women, 52%, oppose such a requirement, and 10% more are undecided. Keep in mind, we haven't used the draft since the Vietnam War, but there's two options here. One, and one of these two things will happen, trust me, or the Supreme Court will eventually weigh in. One, they open up the draft to women. All you women in that age gap will be required, just like men, to sign up for selective service. In a time of war, you would be called up in a draft in equal numbers with men. That's it. I don't know if you like that or not. Tell me down in the comments, but that's one major option. The other one is to repeal the U.S. Military Selective Service Act. That means toss the draft out the window entirely. Say we don't want to pick from men and women. So in order to not do that and only choose men, we're going to get rid of selective service entirely, and we'll focus on recruitment efforts from there. What do you think about this? Is this the old ways? Is this something that we have really needed to update for some time? Should there be women in the military like this, and certainly in the draft? Or should they abolish selective service and the draft altogether? What do you think? Women in the draft or abolish the draft altogether? Because trust me, one of those two is going to happen, and the Biden administration will be tipping their card, or their hat rather, as to what they think is the correct decision moving forward. Tell me what you think in the comments. I know you will. You always do. And if you're new around here, well, make sure you're following. Facebook.com/The News Junkie. Hit that follow button over there at Facebook.com/The News Junkie. On YouTube, it's YouTube.com/The News Junkie. Hit subscribe. You'll get videos just like this every single day. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you again real soon.